Oh, welcome back, everybody. We need you to chime in on this today.
People are still sounding off, as they should be. You probably saw this trending here on the House floor. We have Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez calling out Republican Senator Yoho for what happened in an exchange that she says on the Capitol steps, so we don't have video of it,
okay.
Where they disagreed about things, which often happens. But she claims he called her a bleeping bleep. We cannot use it, but let's bring you the clip from the Congresswoman, and then we'll discuss in a sec.
Okay.
There were reporters in the front of the Capitol, and in front of reporters, Representative Yoho called me, and I quote, These are the words that Representative Yoho levied against a congresswoman.
So hard to talk about. You could see how pained she is even repeating it, but good for her on finding the strength to do that, because that takes a lot of guts.
And now, so she said, you know, I've been called many things in the past. We've all been called many things. But what really got to her was that he stood up in the House and had a kind of a pseudo-apology. Didn't name her, but said, you know, I respect these relationships in that I've been married for 45 years. I have 2 daughters. So that really ticked her off, because she said, you are using that as an excuse of females in your life to be able to say that type of language is okay.
To lash out.
To call out a woman that way with these words, these disgusting words. And so, you know, it got me thinking, and both of us thinking, we were talking in break about some of the names that we in this industry have been called, especially as females, by males and by women too, to be fair. And it can get nasty.
I've had experiences with both men and women, and I think it's indicative of who they are as a person rather than a gender-related issue. But you're right, women often have it tougher in this business. Did you find that, especially, you know, making your way into this position as a female news anchor? Now there are many, but I'm sure at the time when you started, there weren't so many.
There weren't. And one of the biggest things is, and we talk about this all the time, when a woman is assertive, they're called pushy.
Yeah.
When a woman stands up for her rights, she's a bleep bleep.
Right.
It's not the same.
They're driven. They're go-getters. They're ambitious.
Exactly. So you're put into this column, and often a man, and I'm generalizing here, and it's not in every situation, but for my experiences, and then the males have been put here. Very imbalanced. Yeah. And so for me, those have been my experiences. I know you've had many too.
There was a time when I was being poached for a station, and it wasn't a right fit for the time. And so when I politely declined, I was called a lot of bad names on the phone. And I was like, wow, if this is how you treat somebody while trying to court them to come to your station, what would I be in for if I actually worked with you as my superior? And I don't know where I found the strength to say that, because you know me, I'm very passive. I internalize everything. And I hung up the phone after this man threw so many verbal slurs and insults, really bad names like that at me. And then I just broke down crying in a stairwell, because I was physically shaking. I'm like, that's it. I'll never work there again, because I just, you know, stood up for myself against the news director. But it was that power shift where I knew if I caved in then, what world would I be in for if I allowed that sort of thing to happen? I said, my dad doesn't speak to me this way. My husband doesn't speak to me this way. And I will not let you speak to me this way. Because he took it as such an insult that I said it was a wrong fit for me at the time.
And this was in the beginning of your career too, right? And so you're very young at this point, and you don't want to rock the boat at that age. But good for you for doing that.
He did come around though.
Yeah.
So 6 months later, I got another call, and he apologized, and everything was fine. And we had a great working relationship after that, only because I stood up to myself in the beginning to reset that power dynamic. And I think you have to lead with kindness, and it's the golden rule, like, do unto others as you want done unto you, and always remember that.
Yeah.
So like you said, you can't just say, I have 2 daughters, I'm married, so it's okay. Treat people with respect.
We were following more reaction coming from the Congresswoman. She did tweet, I believe we have this tweet, she said, I do not need Representative Yoho to apologize to me. Clearly, he does not want to. Clearly, when given the opportunity, he will not. And I will not stay up late at night waiting for an apology from a man who has no remorse over calling women and using abusive language toward women.
Wow.
So let that all sink in here.
Let that sink in.
And as you said, this is, you know, perhaps you've been using language that you're not even aware you're using.
Yeah.
Let this be a conversation to create the conversation.
Hey, here's to being decent human beings.
Let's do that.
There's a goal. Let's do that. We'll be back with more BT right after this. That was a lot to take it.